Listen well, O seekers of truth, for I, Ferdowsi, bearer of ancient words, shall tell you of a darkness that once ruled over the land of Iran. A king, not by honor but by treachery. Zahhak, the serpent-shouldered tyrant. In an age when kings forgot justice and fear fed upon the hearts of men, the world cried not for warriors but for a spark, and from the fire rose a blacksmith.
In a time when the winds whispered of kings and chaos, when the land still breathed the breath of fire and myth, there lived a prince, young and proud, Zahhak. His father, Mardós, ruled with honor. But Zahhak craved more. Then came the shadow. A whisper in the dark, cloaked in promise. Speaking not to his mind, but to the hunger in his soul. Cast aside your father's wisdom, it said, and the world will kneel. And so he did. From his shoulders, serpents rose. From his heart, mercy died. Thus, Zahhak the man became Zahhak the monster. A king crowned by evil, and ruled by fear. And so the crown, once a symbol of wisdom and justice, rested now upon the brow of darkness. Zahhak, the son who slew his noble father, sat high on the throne carved of stone and silence. Yet it was not the will of men that raised him, but the whispers of Iblis that slithered through the shadows of his mind. The twin serpents upon his shoulders, born of devilish deceit, hungered. And hunger, when born of hell, demands more than grain and meat. They craved the minds of men, the warm, terrified brains of the young and innocent. At first, he resisted. A trace of guilt lingered, buried beneath his pride. But Iblis came again, in dreams soaked with flame. O mighty king, your power will perish, unless you feed the serpents the food they deserve. And so it began. Each dawn, two noble youths were dragged to the palace. Their cries echoed through the halls of horror, and the cook of the damned, under Zahhak's silent nod, sliced the skull, stirred the brain, and fed the beasts. The people, once proud and free, now whispered in alleys and wept in silence. No poetry echoed in the markets, no music rose from the fields, only fear ruled, and fire, and death. And Zahhak? He smiled, an empty, hollow smile. For he had everything, except peace.
In the ashes of tyranny, beneath nights so black the stars dared not shine, a single flame was lit. Not in a palace, nor in a city of gold, but in the heart of the wild, where even the shadows dared not tread. His name was Fereydun, son of nobility, descended from Jamshid, heir to justice and light. Zahhak, haunted by dreams of rebellion, summoned his sorcerers and seers. They read the stars and trembled, O king, beware. A child has been born from the royal line, destined to rise against you, and cast down your crown of terror. In fury, Zahhak issued a decree, slay every newborn. Let none survive. And so the land wept. Cradles became coffins. Laughter vanished. Only silence and smoke remained. But Fereydun's mother, Franak, fled to the mountains with her son, cradling him in trembling arms. There, among stone and storm, a sacred cow named Barmaya fed the child with her milk. Pure, warm, and ancient as the earth itself. Years passed. Fereydun grew tall and fierce. His heart, filled with fire and mercy. His eyes, like thunderclouds over the sea. Zahhak ruled in arrogance, thinking fate bent to his will. But in secret, the mountain raised a lion, and the sun forged a blade of vengeance in his hands.
High upon the mountains, where the winds speak the tongue of the ancients, stood a young man with the stature of a cedar, his eyes forged by storms, his heart burning with justice. He was Fereydun, raised by the wild, carved by the earth. From the silent plains, from streets soaked in fear, came Kaveh the Blacksmith, weary but unbroken, his apron stained by years of labor and grief. He marched with the weight of 1,000 silenced cries. And when Fereydun saw him, he stepped forward, hand on heart, and asked, "Who are you, O mighty one, whose gaze burns like fire through darkness?" And Kaveh, scarred yet radiant, answered with thunder in his voice, "I am the cry of a nation. I am the father of 18 sons, taken by Zahhak's hunger for blood. I am the blacksmith whose hammer no longer strikes for kings, but for justice. This apron may not be the cloth of nobles, but if you are the one we've waited for, then let this become the banner of the people." Fereydun, his eyes shimmering with flame and sorrow, placed his hand on Kaveh's shoulder and said, "Then this shall be the beginning of the end." And there, beneath the blood-red sky, Kaveh raised his apron upon a spear brought down from the mountain. No longer an apron, but a flag, tattered, stained, but defiant. The crowd, once silent, roared. From that moment on, it would be known as the Dirafshi Kaviani, the banner of freedom, the banner of rebellion, the banner of hope. The awakening of the people. As the sun broke through the stormy sky, casting golden rays upon the mountainside, Fereydun and Kaveh emerged from the shadows, not as fugitives, but as legends reborn. Between them walked a mighty lion, its mane blazing like the sun, letting out a thunderous roar that echoed through the valleys like a divine signal. Kaveh raised the blacksmith's apron, now the legendary Dirafshi Kaviani, high above his head. The symbol of rebellion shimmered in the sunlight, stitched with the pain and pride of a suffering people. Fereydun stood beside him, sword drawn, not with hatred, but with righteous fury. His eyes were calm yet unyielding, the gaze of a king not yet crowned. From the hills and villages, people gathered, first in silence, then in murmurs, and finally in shouts of freedom. Old men wept, children clutched their mothers, and warriors who had long buried their swords felt fire return to their hearts. The march had begun. The gates of Zahhak's palace, cold and colossal, opened like the jaws of a beast. Each step Fereydun took echoed with the voice of the oppressed, 1,000 hopes forged into one purpose. In his hand, the ancestral sword gleamed, not with mere steel, but with the fire of vengeance. The time had come. Inside the shadowed hall, Zahhak stood beneath a throne soaked in centuries of blood. His eyes trembled with a fear long unfamiliar to him. The twin serpents on his shoulders hissed nervously. The crown on his brow, once a symbol of terror, now teetered with uncertainty. By the entrance, Kaveh the Blacksmith stood tall. His apron, now the sacred Dirash Kaviani, fluttered like a flame of defiance. The same banner that once bore the ash of the forge, now carried the spirit of a nation. Fereydun shouted, "Zahhak! This is not vengeance for one man. This is justice for all those who perished under your reign." Zahhak lunged, desperate and dark, but from the shadows leapt a mighty lion, roaring with divine wrath. A guardian of truth and fury. Fereydun struck. With one mighty blow, the sword severed the cursed serpents. Crown clattered to the marble floor. Zahhak fell. Silence. And then, a new dawn broke in the eyes of the people.